If yo, I would even lie. Why do I have that? Divine obligation. Divine obligation. You know, I think we all assign different things. For me, it was that. Why do I have it? I don't know. All I knew, all I still know is that I have to express it. You know, I have to do umsebenzi wami, or I have to do what I have to do ngayo, and then just live out basically my, what should I say, live out my divine purpose, if anything, you know. So I would be lying if I were to explain to you why do I have these interests that I have. I don't know. You know, it just happens. That's what I'm saying. There were things that not even used to, but there were things that have always been there. I just wasn't paying attention, you know? And because I started paying attention, it felt like something new. But it's always been there. The whole concept or the whole thing of nothing is new under the sun. We just come into it. Either we come into realization of certain things, or we are reminded. You know, I think Agakulu as creatives, we just go through a whole thing of being reminded of who and what we are, given, you know, like whatever we do, you
know. Welcome back to the Misunderstood podcast. And to say I'm excited would be an understatement for the podcast that I'm about to record, because wow, this mixtape, the mixtape that was dropped, the music that was dropped, the music that continues to be made is an emblance and a recognition for what can be done in South Africa, for a new sound, a new genre, potentially, depending on how you feel in it. But it's also just someone who's a brilliant creative. Inkinga Yomhlaba, how are you doing?
Ooh, I need like a whole standing, you know, like round of applause. But yeah, I'm good, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing well,
Yes, sir.
My brother. I have to start by asking the people around you, the people that you brought with you, the people that are behind the camera, who aren't on the camera. Who are they? What do they mean to you? But also, what do they do? How do they feed into the person that you are?
I mean, man, it's always a thing of like, for me, when it comes to, you know, what I actually do, it's never really a self thing, you know. I think especially around collaboration, you understand that we is a big thing, collective, you know what I mean? So it's like we are all just one body. So, you know, just being around people, of course you do grasp influences, and then, you know, we take from each other basically. So I'm just a big person on unity, you know. I don't just exercise it or even just talk about it in the music. It's also well exercised or integrated in yonke into that I do, you know, just daily living, you know what I mean? So with this, just I could say major influence, you know. And so it's always even with the small things where it could just be simply maybe terms or language. You know, maybe someone from the collective just comes with maybe a certain way of saying things, and then, you know, it's a whole thing within the group, and then from then influences this, that becomes a whole, you know, then packaged to the listeners, to the consumers. Now I'm gay, you know? So, yeah.
I want to ask about who you are before I ask about community, because I think one of the things that's very true about your mixtape, and one of the things that's true about how you make your music, as you said, it's not alone. When people ask, who are you? And particularly what it is that you do, how do you respond to that question?
It's always, you never get a straight answer when you want to ask me that. Because I think with different interviews, it changes. I'm also finding in different times of my life that, okay, now I'm this.
Wow,
now
okay.
I'm that. So it's a whole thing that we I think have, along with the people that I'm always around, but even just with myself, I understand that I'm forever becoming. So I can never really tell you who I am and then it stays like that, you know? Well, I can tell you, but don't expect that to be like, okay, Inkinga Yomhlaba was like this.
Yeah.
5 years later, oh, but he said he's like this. You know what I mean? So, of course, there are things that we set as principles and you stick on them, you know, way of living, whatever the case is, morals and whatever. So that sticks through. But Inkinga Yomhlaba, I should just, you know, give an answer is first and foremost, umuntu, a person, you know, a human. osemhlabeni, yangithola. So there's nothing that changes from that. I think that's like base before I can say I'm an artist. I'm great at yangithola. Yes, I'm a genius, but that comes more rooted type of explanations that I give before I give you the also stylish, good looking, you know, and all that. So yeah, we can go on and on actually.
In that, where did the name come from? Because I think there is a lot of artistry. There's a lot of in you, I guess, an artist who expresses themselves in many ways from what I'm hearing. And that name is a very interesting name because it's not just a problem, but it's a problem of the world.
Yes, sir.
It's the problem to the world. It's something to be seen, something to be recognized, something to be dealt with. How did that name come about?
Well, of course, once again, being influenced, I think just an influence of how I grew, you know, just looking back on everything, my upbringing, you know what I mean? And at times where people would refer to me, would say, I still hear that now, you know, from close friends, but I won't mention names. We won't name names, you know, even in this room. But I think it came to a point where I was just like, why not just own it, you know?
Yeah.
So I just thought also like, you know, if I were to be an artist named this, then it wouldn't be a problem. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
To get around the whole thing of like, why is this person calling himself Inkinga Yomhlaba? Yes, I'm actually even on a mission to make the world shake and break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything that is false needs to break apart. You know what I mean? So that's also part of my mission, Nakona. So yeah, Inkinga Yomhlaba, because in all ways, in whatever I do, I'll make sure that I leave a mark. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could give you that as an understanding for now. You know what I mean? Yeah, Inkinga Yomhlaba, scum of the earth, I think was the first thought in mind before I was like Inkinga Yomhlaba. You know, I was just like, yo, the way umuntu nje ahlupha ngakhona, it's like, yo, I'm almost like the scum of the earth. Like, you know what I mean? But I was just like, let's bring it down. Let's bring it home. You know what I mean? So here we are.
I want to ask about younger you because it seems as though there's a large influence.
There's?
What particularly about younger you do you feel you've kept as you've grown throughout the years?
Oh, the younger me.
Yeah.
A bit of should I say ubu childish. I never lose, you know, my childlike mind.
Yes.
Because it helps me, you know, in this work that I do. I keep it, you know, even when life is just throwing this and that, I can't just stay now I'm an adult, so I gotta adult and all that stuff. I'm still a creative. And I need the younger me or the inner child to still stay alive and be able to do the work that I do. You know, I find, you know, just as a person, like tap into your inner child and be able to color the world, you know? You know, as a child, when you're given a coloring book and you have to draw within these boundaries, you don't care about that. You just want to go off the lines and you want to see colorful pages, you know what I mean? So I think if anything, that's one thing that I've kept with me. Other things I can't really say because even as myself, hence why I said I'm forever becoming, it's hard to reference the old me because at times I feel like, okay, the old me is not so prevalent at this moment or time and place and whatever the case is, you know. So yeah, just having that comfortability of being able to adapt. I used to adapt a lot as a youngin, you know. So I think that is also another thing.
I'm curious in your becoming and becoming as a state of being, as a state of mind, how that ties to your music and what particularly that means for your music. Do you feel as though it is a encapsulation of the person that you are at that moment? Or do you feel as though it is an encapsulation of the person that you have become at that moment?
I think it's in that moment. who I am. Because listen, man, like with these projects that I do create, especially let me just say one, the mixtape. These projects you might find similarities, but they are in maybe context different from one another. So what I do in that time is like I literally have myself as a vessel. I don't personalize the work that I do. It's always like, okay, right now life is taking me here, so it's influencing this style of, addressing this style of delivering, or this interest, this, that. I'm researching on different things. So different interests, just different influences, all around. But again, that's what I'm saying. It's always a thing of having a signature. Would say, no, even if this is going to stay as, the central thing, whatever the case is. So yeah, I should say it's always in the what now? What am I feeling now? Because I cannot create what I'm going to be. You know what I mean? So that has to happen for me to actually be like, okay, what am I doing now? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then going back to what I've done, I can, but that's not fun. I always have a thing of like, yes, maybe this music thing in certain ways might not be fun, and whatever the case is, things can get serious. You know what I mean? But never lose the element of having fun while you're creating. Never lose the element of having fun while you're creating with others. I think it's one thing that one of the bros that I work with, who goes by the name TJ Zulu, don't know if you tapped in, but he was just like, because he's also like a music director / so he works with a lot of musicians outside of just doing music. And it's just like one thing he's found common is that people rather enjoy working with people they can have fun with, even if it's in studio, whatever the case is. But rather that than just have someone who's like closed off, whatever the case is, So yeah, I just say, and just be. When you're doing what you love, like there's no reason to not, Yeah.
In the same vein of inspiration and in the things that have inspired you, what do you remember about the music that was being played around your childhood? And would you say that has an influence on who you've become now?
100,000%. Every time one of them I should say is Iguaito. Every time I'll be playing like a Kwaito playlist, even my brothers know, like when we probably on the way and I'm playing like a whole Kwaito, I always remember back when I was a kid, and I was just one thing that I'll always do is thank my parents, because it's always a story of how my parents were like gospel driven type of or let me just say my upbringing was more gospel influence, so I would hear gospel all around. I wouldn't be able to digest it, but it was just like background music, you know what I mean? Yeah. But there was a moment in time where they were just like, now let's experiment. Just buy this kid or these kids, music that's popping right now. At that time, I think it was Ikwaito, like Brown Tesh, Omzegezege, all these people. So at that time when I heard that, it was like, yo. So for the most part, I always think, man, my parents, like for that, I think they set the world up for Inkinga Yomhlaba, and I'm not going to mention jazz, of course. I'm not going to mention jazz. Of course, jazz was there. You know what I mean? You grew up around your uncles and everything. Like you're always going to hear that music. When it's time to clean the house, you know what type of background sounds we're using. You know what I mean? So, and at that time, as a kid, you don't have interest in that type of music, But I'm finding myself going back to that music right now, and I'm just like, okay, I can hear these influences now, and I didn't pay attention to them, but now I hear them. Yeah. So I'm just like, hey man, shout out to the uncles and aunties, shout out to my mom and dad, shout out to just like that era. I think around the era of like the early 2000s to the late 2000s. Well, let me not say late, it's still 2000, right? So yeah, maybe until 2010, the house music. Yeah. So yeah, I think whatever element you find in the music that I make, you best believe that was literally background music recorded subconsciously, and I'm just like now bringing back in a different way. I think delivering is 2020, Yes, sir.
I'm curious about gospel music because I think what I've learned and what I've come to appreciate, particularly about artistry, is that there's a lot of artists who have come from gospel backgrounds.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I'd only come to recently appreciate like big horn breaks, big like organ breaks really come from the fact of them listening to that music. Gospel music, I'm curious as into what clicked or what didn't click for you when you were listening to that music back then, but also if you see any of the gospel music coming through to your music.
No. No. And it's not a bad thing to all people who actually enjoy gospel, you know. I think besides the message behind it, there's still music, you know, in it. So it could be like, you know, maskandi for someone else, you know. Sometimes it's not even about the message, but it's about like the sound in itself. Do you enjoy it? No. So for me, it wasn't just something that was registering gimme. So meaning Gutsi, like I would have a thing of like play that song, oh I like that song, or I enjoy that. It was just like music that play. It still is, but hence why in abantu bawo, you know what I mean. So as an influencer, it integrating, I don't know. Let's wait and see. You know what I'm saying? Let's wait and see. So that's what I'm just saying. As a creative, I don't close myself off. You know, my allegiance is to music or the art form of music. My allegiance is not to a genre. So I don't stay, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to betray this genre. I'm going to stay here now. The only allegiance that I owe is to this art. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
In the non-allegiance, the creation of music, the creating of music, when was the first time that happened? Because of course, I guess now it's easy for people to look back on it and go that it is working out. You sound amazing. But of course, there was a time predating that where you had to learn the ropes, figure it out. Where did that happen?
My whole life. My whole life, I think, because I was more musically curious than interested. Might be the same thing, but I was more curious on like, I would hear a song and be like, how was this made?
Yeah.
How did it come out like this? What emotions were Young Tola? How did you be able to present those type of emotions? You know, how were you able to make me feel like that? You know, so, and I think before, when I was, you know, maybe taking interest of being a musician, the first thing that started, or the first thing I was curious about was like the writing before the music, you know. So I'd be curious on how a song is written and what pushes a person to write like that, you know. So of course, starting out, it's like it's all willy-nilly, we're having fun, whatever the case is. But as you go into it, just like this famous quote by, who's that Matala? Who's that Matala? I forget him. Fela Kuti says music is a spiritual thing. You don't play with music, you know? You do music or you play with it, you probably either stay long enough to realize it, or sometimes you don't realize it and you're just hurt by it, you know? So for me, as I started of course with no intention. It was just like, I want to make music. I want to see if I can get good in this, you know? So starting out, and then, you know, life it takes its own turns, and, you know, you start taking interest in things that you never thought you'd be interested in, you know? And that whole thing, when at a certain point you step out of it, you get to see, oh, maybe that's why I went through this, because I was supposed to learn this about music, you know? So as time goes, you go to respect that thing. You don't take it lightly, type of thing. So I think, or not even I think, but for the most part, that was that for me. You know, I had to go through, do the sounds that I was doing before what I'm known for. Had to do all that. I had to attend those events. I had to be disappointed a few times. You know what I mean? I had to go through whatever spiritual awakening. Had to go through all these things to actually revere music and be like, yo, now I hear you. Like, you are actually a spiritual thing. You know, you're nothing to play with. So, yeah, I think I could sum it up to that. Actually, it's like, yeah.
I'm curious within music being spiritual. how much of it gives you life? Because I think a lot of it is spirituality sits very much at the bridgeway between giving people a reason to live and reminding themselves why they live. And hearing music being spiritual implies that it's beyond just a force of just sounds. It's beyond just a force of just words. It's something that's beyond making you feel a certain type of way, but making you a certain type of way. So, yeah, music. How important is it to your life?
I know this is going to sound cliche, but man, we are music.
Yeah.
I think if you break it all down, it's frequencies and vibrations, you know? We are music. That's what I'm saying. We can think as deep as we can, and you'll find it's just frequencies and vibrations. You know what I mean? So it is life in itself. You know what I mean? Because I think we are surrounded by music just around us, you know, just living in a place like this. The trees sing all the time, you know? Everything kind of like has a certain harmony that it sings. It just needs you to listen, you know. You need to tune in and actually listen with the music that's playing around, you know. It reminds me of Lengoma Yaga Sistani Samazwai. It says when we ngoma, you know. Yes. Literally that in itself, and she's referring to a person, you know what I mean? And I don't know a compliment to that you know supersedes that or just surpasses that. Like saying someone is a song is something really profound to say, you know what I mean? So I think for the most part, hence what I'm saying that in music is everything, and music is basically everything, because I think, again, one of the most ancient languages or the first languages to ever be spoken was music. Uzwa ngesigubhu mfethu, isigubhu, it's just like kurum 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 kurum. And even in that, some people, the way they understand is like once kurum kurum, it can translate to kulum 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 kulu. You know what I mean? So that's how deep this whole thing gets, man. Like it's not that surface level, you know what I mean? So yoqala iqine ngayo, you know what I mean? So akupheli. I think even in the way we talk, we speak in a certain rhythm. Yeah, but I'm speaking kanje because I'm used to rapping, whatever the case. There's a rhythm right there. Ain't nothing going on right here that's not music. You're sitting back, you're moving forward. That's some young, you know, it's music in itself, because I think music is just like, you say music because it's a certain type of interpretation. It's sound when you break it down. And when you break out sound, it's frequencies, vibration. You know, it goes on and on. So to sum it up, it's everything. I had to do like a whole big... That's how passionate I am, man. That's how the passion goes.
Before you got here,
yes, sir,
speaking to your manager, she said you're a sound scientist. And speaking to you, I understand that. Like the way you see sounds... And I very much say see sounds, because it's not just hearing them.
Yes,
it's
sir.
being able to visualize them, being able to give them life, give them a name, understand how they want to play with them. Why do you have that specificity when so many people opt not to care?
I won't even lie. Why do I have that? Divine obligation. Divine obligation. You know, I think we all assign different things. For me, it was that. Why do I have it? I don't know. All I knew, all I still know is that I have to express it. You know, I have to do umsebenzi wami, or I have to do what I have to do ngayo, and then just live out basically my, what should I say, live out my divine purpose, if anything, you know. So I would be lying if I were to explain to you why do I have these interests that I have. I don't know. You know, it just happens. That's what I'm saying. There were things that not even used to, but there were things that have always been there. I just wasn't paying attention, you know? And because I started paying attention, it felt like something new. But it's always been there. The whole concept or the whole thing of nothing is new under the sun. We just come into it. Either we come into realization with certain things, or we are reminded. You know, I think Agakulu as creatives, we just go through a whole thing of being reminded of who and what we are, given, you know, like whatever we're doing, you know.
There's a sense I get from you, which is trusting in time and trusting in process.
Yeah,
and
100%.
part of me hears that as being a divine process, divinity, God. I'm curious as into when you are creating, and you've already said you are a vessel, how much of you is creating with the intent of creating something versus how much of you is creating simply on the basis of, I am creating, I'm hoping the message will arrive, and accepting that if there's no message today, I'll come back tomorrow.
I won't lie. First of all, you're asking really good questions. Because what the you know, some depth in it. Okay. No, this is what I like. These are almost everyday conversations that we have. Nakona. So I'm not really, there's no PR script for this. No. But just to say, Uguti, these are everyday conversations because it's always, I think, okay, Gakulu is surrounding. As a creative, mhlambe, your art will also maybe determine what type of people you surround yourself with. You can't be an artist of depth and then you surround yourself with people who don't have or can't comprehend that level of depth. You know what I mean? We need to sit in a room, have conversations of conversations. So go deeper than deep and ask ourselves what the hell deep is. And deep. So we can deep the deeper deep. You know what I mean? Those bars right there. I'm joking. That was whack.
Deep the deeper deep.
You know what I mean?
So you can go deeper.
Yeah, so you can
deeper.
deep your deep. You know, but okay, I think I lost my train of thought, but just your question was exactly?
Whether it is divine messaging that you're waiting for.
Yes.
Or whether
yes.
it is divine messaging that you are creating for.
Yes, I think, yes, you're right, Moti. Like, I trust in divine timing. You know,
yeah, from the album, bro.
You know what I mean? It's a thing of understanding that everything has itself figured out. We are just like, you know, we are the dance in this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's one of the bars I'm like, this EP like ancient dance. You know what I mean? This is not new. This groove has been going on. So for me, it's a thing of the moment I step in the studio, I don't know what type of energy is going to be brought out.
Yeah.
All I know is that Meleng Mbela is studio. That's the only important thing. I need to be in studio. I can sit the whole day. Because I do have a studio set up in Lynn. So sometimes I'll just like sit the whole day there and only start recording later on.
Yeah.
So all I know is that I was supposed to be there that whole day. Or space. You know what I mean? And then whatever needs to come will come, just tune into the right frequency, basically. You know what I mean? So whether you could be watching a podcast, or I could be watching YouTube videos of some sort or listening to that type of music, nani. In that moment or time and place, there are things that are going on that you can't see.
Yeah.
So papa, I mean, just like, oh wait, oof, this is a dope idea. Let me try this. You know, Ibuyapi. We don't know. I don't know, but I just know it's like an idea that came. And sometimes when I'm creating with people, the people that create with, it's always a thing of like, oh, this idea I had, just now I had it. And I always tell them, it's no kulega, izobuya, because it's in this room right now. You know what I mean? It's just roaming around the room. It's gonna come back. You know. So yeah, it's a thing of just like trusting, because sometimes even as an artist, sometimes people send you beats. Or mhlambe there's a song you've been working on for the longest of time. And let's say in my case where I'm working on a project and there are songs maybe from like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Exactly. And I keep revisiting those songs and it's a complete song. But I recorded, got done with it 2 years ago. But I keep coming back to it. Within that whole 2 years till now, I keep coming back tweaking this. I keep coming back, changing up. Oh, let me add this. Let me take out this. You know what I mean? It's just that whole thing. And if that time I had a thing of like, okay, that time created that thing, then put it out, it might have never sounded as special as it sounds right now. So that's what I'm saying. There are things that just happen. You need to allow.
I do want to ask, because I think what I find so amazing about you is, as someone who waits for their process, you care about your process. And it comes through in your music because, and it's beautiful that you said you started at writing, because you can tell. The way you consider the way you're saying certain things, the words you're using to say certain things, the switch between vernacular and English, all of these moments and decisions that you're just going, jeepers. I've never...
Yeah.
And like, I think the thing that's amazed me is speaking to you, I feel the care. And there's not a lot of people that comes across.
No, it's there.
I want to ask about when you are writing, what does that process look like? Because people punch in, people write full things. As you said, sometimes you're waiting for something. Like, what is the creative process?
Okay, I should say it's not a fixed thing. And just to get on the writing part, I'm just one person. I think writing needed to happen because I wasn't always a person who was that good in vocab. My vocab wasn't always that good, you know what I mean? Certain languages I wasn't like really fluent as I am. And looking back, now I'm just like, oh, I had to learn that. So I needed to hone that skill. I think I still am. There's so many, there's so many levels to this. I feel like I still need to explore. I want to explore, because for the most artists that I listen to are just like manipulators. Like they just word bend, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh, when you go on a low level, let me get on it, but let me see how I can do it, So yeah, for the most part, with a creation process, it's never like a set thing which I can create, but I can put for myself. As I'm just, if you're able to fix an environment that allows you to express yourself upside down, laying flat, whatever you create won't be linear. So just understanding, and there's a scientific terms like nothing in nature is linear, everything is curvature. So meaning there's no, like, even in this whole thing of creating music or creating art, there's no rules or boundaries. I think we've seen it with geniuses over time. We'd say, damn, they can create while they're living this type of life, or this is what their creative process looks like. Wow, So for me, it's always, hence why I'm just saying it's always different. One of the things I always push myself missing Alingoma is that I have to finish the song.
Okay.
Used to go from writing a song, to a point where I'm just now echoing a song, hearing in my mind. So same time as I'm speaking, I'll just do the song like that. If my deliverance was not on par, then I can work on it. But whatever ideas, I lace them live. So basically like freestyling a song, so that's just like different ways. And then there are songs really that need writing, that need you to sit down, structure everything, you know what I like in Tenjalo. And certain songs, I might have them and I maybe even hear beats, and I'm like, and this beat, I've had it for some time, but it's only now that I'm hearing it. So here's what I can do to it. I'll write the song, come back, and then be able, and I'll structure yonke when I'm away from the studio. So when I get in studio, I know it's okay, this is what I wanted, or this is what I heard at that time. So it's adopting those ways and just like understanding anytime when it's tea time, it's tea time. When it's tea time, it's tea time, man. So so I can't say there is a particular way of creating. For me, it's like namanje njoba ngikhuluma now, I could type something esengqondweni uthi, oh damn, I just said something deep, but I'm talking to you about something, but also so it's that type of thing. So yeah, sometimes it's writing Sometimes it's just going off. Maybe I'm hearing a beat and I hear a melody of some sort, and I'm just like, okay, nah, melody, let me lay it up. Let me also take myself, let me test myself. Let me see if Okalam can do this. If it can't, okay, let me get someone that I know who's close to me, because I'm also blessed enough to be surrounded by people who are really good, So I know mhlambe when I have this idea and mhlambe my capabilities don't reach there, I'm able to call on, or Sakhile and be able to call on TJ or any other creative that's in Yangsola that I work closely with to be like, okay, I hear you here doing this because I tried something like this, Because Kendrick, I think, also does the same thing where he would write a whole song and be like, Cesar, please, this part do it. Just like we cried together or from the Mr. Morale project.
We cried together, yeah.
We cried together. Fun fact, but I think everybody knows this. That whole song he wrote it, that dialogue, that back and forth, he wrote that and recorded it. So the raw recording of it, he was arguing with himself.
Wow.
So of course he was just like, okay, I'm not gonna take out a song where I'm just arguing with myself and I sound like a woman. The next minute I sound like the man. Let me just get someone to do it, So yeah.
I have to ask about your band of bandits, the trio, the Three Musketeers in music.
Yes, sir.
TJ Zulu, Sakhile, yourself. Who are these people to people who don't know them? Because I think I have the capacity to say I know some of them through our conversations.
Of course.
But for people who've never experienced them, never had sight to them, they're a community of people you create with. You've spoken about them quite extensively. But what do they mean to your creative journey and how do they contribute to your creative journey?
They don't contribute nothing. I'm joking. Of course, man. These are people that I work closely with. Met both of them in different times, of course. And the list does go on, actually. They just so much happen. I would say there are people that I work with closely currently. And frequently, that is. And we've grown to just, feed off each other's energies effortlessly. So I think I would rather prefer umuntu ayikhulumele ukuthi ubani uyenzani, but just to give my understanding, they're also passionate musicians, very passionate, very good in what they do. You see me, you must also know they are more or less on the same understanding when it comes to music, And I think the work is evident. I think sometimes when you're just musicians, sometimes you just let the work speak for itself instead of just being, all about it, maybe talking. For them, it's people that I work closely with. Even just coming together and be like, okay, we're gonna do this, or creatively, it's an effortless type of thing to even have, decide, okay, we're gonna do this, because we actually see it as something convenient. So it's we have a lot of songs together. Why don't we just compile a project? We have a lot of songs together. Why don't we do like a music video or whatnot? So yeah, these people in Vesu, I love them so much. They'll look at this and be like, oh, it's vulnerable. I love them so much. I think I'm just one person, ongasabi, who show emuntwini ukuthi, yo, I love you. Because it doesn't have to be tied up with a lot of romantic stuff. It's just purely living. I love them so much, man. I think even in the way uthando lukhona, it's always, especially when you have to get things done, tough love has to be implemented in bits. And so for the most time, they just be like, but I just understand, these people, I feel like they can also make a change or a changing in the world, musically, that is. And that's what pushes me most of the time to push them. Because sometimes as a person, we realize the potential as much as someone does. Yeah. That's why you find in most cases, push the way when who's pushing a corner, So for them, it'd be the same thing where it's just like I'll go off on them but you're not realizing who's uyi no rubani. But I'll accommodate you to that realization. So yeah, long story short, these people are special, to be looked out for, to be heard, and to be let in. Yeah.
I want to ask probably more of a, I don't know. I don't even know where to place it. But I guess what I would say is that creativity in South Africa is not something that exists in abundance. And what I mean by this is not necessarily the act of creating, but I think the willingness to share creativity. And this particularly comes in people's willingness to collaborate, people's willingness to help you be put on at a different show, whatever the case may be. When the industry is framed as this, you must keep it all to yourself, keep it close to you. What allows you to continue to go, I'm going to share my art, I'm going to share this process when so many people don't?
Man, like I said, I think one of the shorter ways to look at it is just like what I was explaining off camera. I'm like, Tina, the way in our corner, we can't rely on computers as much as we want to, you know? So for the most part, when we're sharing music, to us, it doesn't feel like sharing music. It feels like let's back it up on a more broader cloud where everyone can access, but sisi story lap. If anything, if we wanted maybe for future references, we can always go there and listen, or maybe you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the most part, or at least let me just say that's my understanding of it. I can't rely on my computer, you know? Right now I do have a reliable computer, but I can't rely on it. So everything that's there needs to be backed up elsewhere. Because I do have hard drives, but that big ass drive needs to also be backed up. So back to the whole thing of collaboration. I think collaboration is a thing to be viewed as a space of unity. I'm not with the whole thing of gatekeeping. I'm not with the whole thing of just like. And I know how the new world like makes you view. Would say no, your success needs to be personal and to you. Like, but what's the saying? Your best revenge is the best revenge is success.
So, best revenge is so cold. Oh, best revenge is success.
That whole thing, and it's like now that thing makes you a hostile broer. Like so hostile, man, because you just like my success needs to. Meaning, success is no longer like personal and some like, oh, I would love to see me and mines eat. Now it's a thing of like, I'm from you called me names, I'm going to show him. That thing makes you too violently zero. Now you're not operating from a place of being pure. You're just operating from a place of wanting to retaliate to someone else. You know what I mean? And good music video ain't nothing personal. For me, I mean, it's personal if you make it personal. Yeah. Then we can take it there 100%. But you can't operate on that level until. So you have to realize it's okay. Besides the conflict with Uspusi, Suspanban, you have a bigger scope here. You have a bigger purpose. So in as much as people are just like, oh, controversy sells or whatnot, the album rollouts right now could be name dropping for the sake of. So like clickbaits and all that stuff. Do you want that?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, not yet.
Not yet. Exactly. You know, it's so simple to do that, but me and you're not chasing that. Yeah. And I think you calling me here is a thing of you had an understanding of the type of person I am through or where I was at mentally. That's why you were so confident in inviting me here, because you asked, it's okay. Can he start something? Probably. But will he? He won't, because that's not where my mind is. So if anything, I'm just I'm a fan of collaboration. I'm a fan of collaboration. That's why you see the way we're moving right now. It's so simple to do it alone. I'm finna get there quicker. But then more mouths are fed. You know? Yeah. More mouths are fed, and it's a whole thing. So I'm not with the hostile type of thing. That's why I was just saying in the beginning, I'm like, I'm not my allegiance is not to a genre. It's to music as a whole. So I'm not going to hold myself, be like, I'm not going to collaborate with the person who does this genre. I can collaborate with someone who does gospel. I don't know if you're going to do gospel though. Because you fail my vulgar ways, like, maybe like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean? Or say things that are just unrelated. But it's just a thing of like collaboration, and it keeps everything going. Sometimes the collaboration doesn't need to be a thing of, oh, you're a musician, I'm a musician, let's work on music. Sometimes it's a thing of like, let's work together even if we're working separately. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of that. I think we need more of that in the industry. Everything is just so closed off. Everything is just so personified. Yeah, no, this is for me and mine. But again, vulinkliziyo and just let in, because on a bigger scale, more collaborator. It's not, excuse me, it's not about you. When you're collaborating with someone else, it's not completely about you. Once the work is out, so many people are appreciative of that. People can appreciate you, but they might even appreciate you more mhlambe when you have a Sakhile, TJ, when you have a Mtungambulaz, when you have a, you know, like the list can go on and on, a Inox May or Key Wave, you know, just like all these bros who are good at what they do, people would appreciate that more. Yeah, but if you still have a thing of like, oh, this is competition, you can always keep the competition healthy, you know?
Your sense and source being love.
Yeah.
It's beautifully profound because I think one in the South African sense, there's not a lot of men who will speak about love. And I don't know, I guess everyone has their weird relationship with love or whatever it is. But it's a very hard space to be in because the world doesn't always operate like that. The world is not always in a place of love. The world is not always willing to even give love or even receive love sometimes.
True.
And you continue to use it as your epicenter.
Yeah.
I'm curious as into, firstly, why? But I guess more importantly, what is that sense of love for you?
It's everything, just like music. So, uthando and doing music for me is the same thing. Uthando is the first and last thing that you're ever going to experience. Not knowing if there's an end. But for me, it's like, yes, we live in such a, a hostile world now where you have to keep to yourself. So in that sense, you're not only keeping to yourself on a particular thing, but it has love involved. Yeah, one. And I feel like that be the main problem because for me, the whole thing is like, what's greater than spreading love? Almost every great musician, and I'm just an echo, I'm just a cliche right now. Every great musician that has ever stepped on a platform has always uttered, spread love.
Yeah.
Why are they saying that so much? Why do they have to repeat it? Are we missing something? Those are questions we should be asking ourselves. Pop off, have millions of people, you know, this one, they're all saying the same thing. What are we not doing is the thing, you know? And now that I'm in this space, I understand it's okay, gungani, like you can have a lot of these things, but the main particulars or the most important thing is if what you're doing is driven by love, then why not express that and spread that? Yeah, but so sometimes people think love is just like an affectionate, romantic thing. No, I think love can be expressed in different ways. Yeah, but I can meet you for the first time, have a really dope encounter with you. It'll be like, if it's, I love you. Yeah. That will feel weird to most people, especially when you wish eye contact, you know. But if you know, it's nothing weird.
Yeah.
No, you know, it's like, I don't know. Is your podcast censored? Like,
no, bro, say yours.
When you say no Diddy, and it's like, oh yeah, you weird. I think you grow past that, man. Like, really, come give me a hug, nigga.
Yeah.
Young stop that. Yeah, when I you know, if anything, my first encounter with you shouldn't be a hostile one. Nah, is your day going well? Are you okay? We should be asking each other those questions because, hey, get better, you know what I mean? Someone would be having the worst day and you could simply help them by just asking them, how was your day? Do you need to conversate about it? You don't even need to know this person on a personal level. Keep it anjalo, keep it pushing. Yeah, but spirit uthando, I think for the most part is something that has always been important. Even back then, if we can date back, ancient African times, uthando always led, because even the principles of Ubuntu right at the core of it is uthando, because what drives ubuntu if not that? Ukuba ne-compassion, yangithola, ukuzwela umuntu, ukuthanda umuntu, yangithola, lezo zinto driven by love. So ultimately, there's a couple, Nakoy, I'm just remembering now, that just broke the internet standing on, is it the Empire building or something, and their poster read, Uguti, I discard your love for power, or if the world knows the power of love, I don't know, something around those lines, but like the world will only know peace if they just let go of the love of power.
Huh. Yeah.
It's that simple. Spread love. That's it. Like, it's that simple.
Before I ask about the music, the mixtape, the project, I do want to ask an interesting question, which is, why not be personal with the music? Because I think the most interesting thing that I've heard you say, and I think you said it off air, was the music's not personal. And I get it, because I guess as part of you being a vessel, you recognize that it's not your own. It's not your own creation. But when so many people make it about them, and so many people want to be the guy on stage, want to be the guy with the great EP, like, what gets you to the point where you remove yourself from it?
Self-awareness. Self-awareness. I don't know if I did say this, but it's like, Uguti, someone compliments the music or speaks against it, I don't care.
Gotcha.
You can say you love it. Okay, good. Like, there's nothing, I don't feel anything. And this is no offense saying, no, I don't, I'm not thinking, but no, it's just a thing of like, the moment I do that, I latch on to the work. It becomes me. I self-identify with that. And I, in my practice, I don't want to self-identify with the work that I put out. You know what I mean? I just want it to stay as the work. Yeah, but I'm able to probably pop off. Mhlambe, people would probably know the music or whatever the case is, and still walk amongst the people and not feel like, because I'm ekas, man. You know what I mean? So I still live ekas. So sometimes when I'm walking through, I don't have a thing of like you know. So I'm able to still be like, ekhaya ngusfiso bangithumisa inkwa anytime. Ngizokolowa zafe afethu ngikhathele, you know. But I'm not gonna apply ispansam in my personal life. And with the person that I'm involved with right now, I love the fact ukuthi uklana kwami naye, she didn't know who I was until we actually, you know, started getting to know each other. She only knew who I was and what I do only later on. I would rather have it that way. I'm not the type of person to use in, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just, simhlabeni touch grass of it. Like,
and I'm curious, like, does that separation even like push to the extent to where the artist you, as much as it is embodied in you, is a different being, has a different feeling, sense, soul? Or is it the case of when you're being you, and when you're working, and you just have the capacity to separate those two?
I can separate. I think for the most part, I can separate ngokuthi mhlambe grounding myself. So they won't tell me do the dishes. I'm like, no, I'm Inkinga Yomhlaba. I won't do that. You know, I can. It's just those things. But like when it just comes to some people, the way they describe it is just like, you actually know different from the music that you put out. And I think I like it that way. You know what I mean? Because it's like personality-wise in the music that's there, that needs to speak one language. Nothing needs to be performative. I'm a very mixed cultured person. One, because umama and ubaba are different cultures. So in as much I'm not fully integrated in both, it's like I'm not going to acknowledge one and leave one out. They're all going to be a part of me. They all go, even if predominantly you hear one and not the other, but you're going to hear it. So it's a thing of like separate. Yes, I separate mhlambe the brand from the real, real life me or whatever. Oh, it's weird that I say real me because all of them is real me. So it's easy for someone like me to be caught out at a place where it's like mhlawumbe ngisekasi or ngithola ngithenga amaveji ngithola at a spaza shop or a woman outside. It's not out of place because my representation tells you ukuthi mfethu ngisemhlabeni mina. I have no time for acting bougie or acting like, you know what I mean? If you want us to be in that space, then I can well integrate in that, but I'm not going to lose myself. If you want me, we were talking about before we came with one of the brews that I work with, Ulef, and I was just like, yo, if we can leave earlier so that so kala what do you call this, MTN rank. So before we go hit this interview, you know what I mean? And that's just a genuine, that's not performance. Like, and unfortunately we couldn't go, but what time is it, man? I don't think we can make it, but it would have slapped, but I'm just saying it's not out of place. I can't say the real me and Inkinga Yomhlaba because both are the real me. You know what I mean? I apply the same things. You find me, I'm like, hey, we just move on with life. If it's time to work, it's time to work.
Yeah.
There I know how to separate. It's okay. Right now we're not slacking. Now we're working now.
Wow. Okay.
Straight up.
Let's talk about the work. Let's talk about this wonderful masterpiece that you gave the world, this offering that you gave to this world.
Yes, sir.
Wow, was it an offering? Right? Was it an offering?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't even know how to give life to something that's so amazing because I think there is so much from that intro all the way through to that outro where you're just going, here is a man who's trying to tell you a story. He's trying to give you moments. He is being honest in his reflections and he's doing it in the sounds that are truest to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to ask, what brought this about?
Now I have to time travel back to where my mind was at that time. But for me, it's always a thing of like, every project is an experiment of what is going on right now, where I'm at mentally, whatever the case is. And one of the things that remain particular in the art that I do, rather, is being able to tell a story. And storytelling can be in different ways. But I realized, okay, if I'm interested in the way Kendrick Lamar is able to write a story and sing about me, or How to Pimp a Butterfly, how would it sound if I were to interpret a story? And you listen to a project and you say, okay, that's how I can. Can I improve? Yes. I would love to improve, you know what I mean? But if anything, it's just like a thing of like, okay, personality wants to tell a story in a sense that has house elements or whatever the case is. Okay, let's try that. So for me, it's always a thing of like, okay, how do we best, like come out to the public and be like, okay, Bafethu, here's how I'm feeling. Here's what I think of the current world. What do you guys think? Because I think I said this one time in first radio interview that I had was it YFM? I can't remember. I was like, Buffett, there's so many people who are making you guys dance. I don't think you need any more. And it's a basis, and it's a basis of need. I don't think you need any more.
You don't need more sounds.
You don't need more. And it's like, yes, they'll keep on building. We're not trashing anyone. It's like they can keep on going. Sharp. But you don't need me to be that. If you want me to be, and you understand need, want. If you want me to be, I can. If I want to, I can. But I don't need to be that. If anything, let's sit and ponder. Because sometimes you do need that time, Or sometimes let's sit and relax. Let's just think about things in life. And it doesn't always have to be a thing of like, oh, scary, like everything is bad. Oh, the climate, the economy. No, we can just chill. Can just be background music when you're, changing clothes. Can be background music when you are preparing to go out. When you're walking down the road. when you are studying, like you said, when you're able to study, I hope you pass, nigga.
Of course I did.
So shout out to Inkinga Yomhlaba. I finna make you pass.
Shout out.
You know what I mean? So it's that whole thing of literally let's do things differently.
Yeah.
Let me deliver something to you so that we can do that. So sometimes when you listen to my music, it's not a thing of sit and ponder. Mm-hmm. It's here's what I think about this. What do you think? Because I've often said, I'm shabeng sibaning.
Yeah.
And ngapa sibaning, you know. But I'm just gonna keep on doing this music thing, you know, even though sibaning this music thing, you know, because I just want to see abantu bahlangene, you know, just having a fun time. And this, what I'm telling you right now, is what I said on a song.
I have to ask this much, and I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about your new project, but you are the artist, so I always go, artists are allowed to say as much as they'll share on this platform.
Of course. What a safe way of saying it.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing you, but you can say everything. Yes, sir.
This new project, firstly, I must say I'm excited. When I heard there was a new project, I was like, ooh, I've been given information. I'm excited. But beyond the excitement, I'm curious as to where you were when you were making that album. If you can take us through what the mindset was. Because at least from what I'm deriving is that your music is very much an encapsulation of a moment. It's an encapsulation of who you are at that moment.
Yeah.
And I think the most beautiful thing that you said off air was when you were talking about the fact that you create albums and when they're released are such different times. You've lived so much life between the actual public release date and you knowing when that thing was coming out.
Yeah.
Like, where was your thinking when you were creating this album? What were you thinking about? What was of interest? And what is it that identity, idea-wise, people should be expecting for this project?
Okay. No, you're actually right. You know, because sometimes people experience like a project, they put me, just like just off topic. I was the project that dropped 2021. Yeah. No, 2022. My bad. 2022. The project I started working on in 2020. And you tapped in now.
Yeah.
So you'd ask me, like, what were you thinking? I don't remember. If I can be honest, I'm kumbuli. So, and that's just to put it off. I can't give you bits by bits, you know, like remembering. It's okay. Yeah, here I remember because I was here, whatever the case is, just like the overview, you know. So just coming to this one, KWASUKASUKELA. And it has been announced. I think I can speak on anything you can ask, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So KWASUKASUKELA is coming out on the 31st of July, that is. It's a collective project. So I'll just say what I interpret or what I think from it or how that came about. You can have TJ, you can have Sakhile to come and have their part.
Needs to happen.
But you might find Uti would say something similar because we are one mind, especially when we're coming together for a project. And for me, these songs came together in different times. The project was not a project until we decided it's a project.
Wow, okay.
We just had a bunch of songs.
Jeepers.
Exactly. So we had to get around a thing of working together, which is sevenza kanjani, what do we like talking about? And sometimes you'd find Uti, ingoma iqalwa yimi, ngena TJ, and then Sakhile's like, let me add. Or vice versa. I would hear the both of them like, you know, and then I would add. So you'd find it's okay coming together. I think it only became an intentional joint project around the end.
Wow.
The end of it. So we're just like, okay, now that we're deciding to do a joint project, let's actually finish it off. Wow, so there are some songs that are intentionally for the joint project, and there are songs that just like songs that happen like within us working together, and we're like, this song is dope. This song is nice. This song, we're adding it. They need to hear this, you know, because we have a lot of music together. Yeah, bueno. So we're just cutting off the branch and we're like, okay, because individual projects are still underway. Mine, Sakhile, is underway. So this one is a good one to kind of like safu storage in my computer, like I said, and then be able to put out. Yeah, bueno. So KWASUKASUKELA is a beautiful project because it's slowly shaping itself to not what we had in mind conceptually.
Wow.
Because hence why it was not even a project to begin with. It was just a bunch of songs we had together. But now that we're piecing it together, it's now becoming its own life. And it's like, we're also watching it, but we are being specific on what we want. You know what I mean? Like, it's funani, but at the same time, we're watching it become what it needs to become and giving it that space. We're also allowing space for people to interpret it how they understand it.
Yeah.
Instead of enforcing it to me. KWASUKASUKELA is this. KWASUKASUKELA is that. If anything, KWASUKASUKELA is for the people. We don't know what would come from it. We hope it becomes like a whole movement. But it's like once upon a time, a story was told by these three people. And yeah, from that, we have no particular direction for it. But we just know one thing. It's just going to be a great one. That we good with.
I have to ask about the group thinking, the three-pronged dragon.
Yeah.
Right? 3 different brains, but same body. What's it like being in those selection meetings where you're going, this song is going here? This song is not going on the album?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine you all have a favorite. You all have the ones you hate. You all have the ones that you don't hate, you don't love, but they're there. But then it comes to what actually goes on. That process is like picking children. Impossible, never fun. And it's already hard from what I've heard for one artist to do it.
True.
Now you bring together 3.
Yeah.
What is that process? Are you guys deliberating? Are you guys voting? Like, is there a mechanism to what you guys are doing? Because I can imagine it's not as we all think it is. It's not just we get the album. Because I always say as a consumer, you always think this thing starts and ends with you. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So what is that process like?
I think for the most part, boys, Uktembana, you know, we're not all going to decide and stay common, you know, but I have to trust Indlebe, TJ, why he picked that song, even if I'm not hearing it right now. They need to trust what I picked, even if they're not hearing it right now, you know, and that's how we work as a collective. Yes, there's been clashes, you know. It's like even in the what do you call it? Compiling in order, whatever the case is.
Really?
Even in that, because we would listen to it, be like, this should come first, this should come second, this should come after this, you know. And recently had done that before we finalized Unkento. Like, okay, let's listen back. In your own listening, this is how you pictured it. Now let's listen to it. Let's involve people who are not even there in the music creation. You know what I mean? Then you find it's okay, there are changes, and then you'd understand why there are those changes. It's because, you know, so sometimes that's why more creating a project, be like, okay, listen to this. Hear what they say. I'm not saying take it. Hear what they say. Take it into consideration. If you want to Kanye the whole thing is fine. That's your own, so that's your genius. Trust it. Go with it. But more sevens I'm as a team, so more sevens as a collective. Trust the people around you as they are just an extension of you. Yeah, wanna trust that and stick or stay by that for something to actually come into full effect or become like really effective rather. So yeah, with this one, there were minor clashes actually, if I could tell you the truth, because so making a song together that is good, then we are confident in, light work. It wasn't really something that was hard to do, whatever the case is. It was just like a thing of like, no, this should go in, this should go in. Oh, I like this, oh, I don't like this. Oh, why do you like it? Because, okay, let's add it. how many songs do we need? This many songs. Okay, let's create more. And then after lapo, na project. Na KWASUKASUKELA bafowethu. Yes, sir.
My closing, or before I ask my closing question,
Yes, sir.
is I want to ask you about what the day of publishing will feel like. And I know you're not there. I know we're getting there almost,
Yeah.
but you're not there yet. But if you can, give us insight, give a visualization. What do you feel that day will be like? Because it's hard to know what that day will be like. But of course, there must be anticipation building up to that day, thinking about that day. So what do you hope to see on that day?
Of course, I said a lot of green. You need to see a lot of that. Sabo Hulk walking around. Stuff like that. Social media needs to pop off with a lot of green. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we're not really worried. Are people going to fall in love with it? People are going to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Because we love it. And so like, we do what we love and we did what we love right there. We put out parts of ourselves in it. So, naranjani, it's going to be loved. But for the most part, I think I even remember what is now current highlight for me is when TJ Zulu texted me at 3 a.m. in the morning, like, bro, he texted, bro, I've been thinking about this project and I have a good feeling about it. I was just like, why couldn't you express that like in the middle of the day or something? Why did it have to be like 3 a.m.? Yeah, but because I understand, we know each other. If you're gonna deliver something like that at that time at an awkward hour, Gushuguti, there's there's something that you're feeling, and I think we're not really worried. You know what I mean? We don't have things that we're worried about, like, oh, if Mhlambi A&R people can come through, listen, this, that. We're not worried about that. It's like that thing of doing the work we're supposed to do and allowing it to come into full, it's reach its own potential, come to full effect. Why, because the same project that led me here right now to sit down with you never had crazy marketing. And what made you listen to that project yourself was not a video I put out or whatever the case is. It was just the music in itself. You know what I mean? So it's, I think we do trust that, although there are things that are business-wise that we do implement. Oh, we need to have a listening session. We need to have shows, which we're going to be having shows all around Jozi called KWASUKASUKELA Roadshow Experience. That's just the business side of things, Well, not fully business, but business and also, human interaction and bringing people. Because they've always been like, if I feel too, you want to see you guys live. The music is beautiful. So we're coming to you guys live. And we expect you guys to pull through. But so for the most part, that's, if anything, I've always taught myself to have zero expectations when it comes to the work when I put it out. But for this one, I would just say I have a good feeling. I don't know what the good feeling experience would be like, but it's just going to be straight, solid, good feeling, So trusting on that. KWASUKASUKELA forever. I was corny. I'm sorry, I was a corny moment, for real. Like, yo, wow. Yes, sir.
My closing question, it's a simple one. Well, people say it's not so simple, I've heard recently.
Yeah. I wonder.
But what's your message? What do you hope people take away from this? What do you hope people get from this conversation?
To touch grass.
That's
simple as that. Touch grass, we're emhlabeni, I think you could be all over the place physically. You could be all over the place spiritually. You could be all over the place mentally. But grounding yourself is central and is almost final, you know what I mean? So for the most part, that's my personal message. Touch grass. I won't say spread love, that's cliche. You know that. So more food, but spread love, of course, man. But if anything, touch grass, and touch grass can be interpreted in many ways, understood in many ways. With touch grass, love yourself. Touch grass, come back to yourself. Touch grass, send to yourself. Touch grass, be yourself. You know, be kind. Just be grounded. You know what I mean? And I like the setup because it's really green. So, you know what I mean? Like, this energy is what touch grass is initially, you know? So, yeah, if anything, to follow your heart. Don't do something that's outside of you, especially if it compromises you, you know? Enjoy being around people. I know the whole introverted thing is a thing. I'm somewhat introverted, but it's something or forces me to be out there. But I also understand when it's time to be around people, that means it's a special occasion, rather. So be around people, man, and touch grass. Yes, sir.
I want to say thank you very much because jeepers, man. Jeepers.
Shout out to you. Because what type of questions, like, and the fact that you don't even have a paper or anything with, so Inkinga, I commend that.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, you live what you do.
You live what you do.
And you live love, you live music. Love is music, love's frequency. As you said, music is everything.
Yeah, everything.
And I wish you the absolute best for this next project, bro.
My word, yes, sir.
Wow. And I wish you the best for just you, your music, your career, the journey, because you're killing it, bro.
Yes, sir.
You are killing it and it shows. And
yeah, well.
To everyone else out there, misunderstood people, thank you if you've made it this far. We appreciate you so much. And as always, this has been Misunderstood. Deuces, yo.